Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodhanandana Jajana Jana Yasodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravana Chari Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravana Chari Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Kṛṣṇaye Bhutale Śrimate Gopal Krishna Goswami Devini Prabhupada Sasahityam Yapakasha Vidiraja Pracharan Kirvanshadu Bhagatpati Namo Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Kṛṣṇaye Bhutale Śrimate Bhakti-Vedānta-Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivāsadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadhantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sijuta Padakamalam Shri Gurung Vaishnavamscha Sirupam Sagrajatan Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakham Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaniswari Visabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kipa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaisnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Śrīmad Bhagavad-Gita as it is, chapter 18, and this is the contents of the Bhagavad-Gita, or perfection, the renunciation, perfection of renunciation. Correct? Yeah? Huh?
Conclusion.
Yeah, that's the conclusion. Prabhupada says the Bhagavad-Gita is finished in 17 chapters. Or 17 chapters. But the chapter 18 is like the summary. It is like chapter 2. Summary of the Bhagavad-Gita, right? The contents of the Bhagavad-Gita. So we're going to read, let me see here. Chapter 18 in my computer. Text number 13. Actually, text 13 and 14 is supposed to be together. The message of chapter 13 is connected to text 14. I don't know why it is separated, because according to my study notes here, is that both of them have the same common theme. So let us read text 13. Yes? Let me see. Where's my Bhagavad-Gita? Pañcaitāni mahā-bāho kāraṇāni nibodha me sāṅkhye kṛta-ante proktāni siddhaye sarva-karmaṇām pañcaitāni mahā-bāho kāraṇāni nibodha me Sāṅkhye kṛta-ante proktāni siddhaye sarva-karmaṇām.
pañcaitāni mahā-bāho kāraṇāni nibodha me sāṅkhye kṛta-ante proktāni siddhaye sarva-karmaṇām
pañcaitāni mahā-bāho kāraṇāni nibodha me
Sāṅkhye kṛta-ante proktāni
sarva-karmaṇām
pañcaitāni mahā-bāho karmāni nibodha me Sāṅkhye kṛta-ante proktāni siddhaye sarva-karmaṇām.
Pañcaitāni mahā-bāho kāraṇāni nibodha me sāṅkhye kṛta-ante proktāni siddhaye sarva-karmaṇām.
You want to try? Pañcaitāni mahā-bāho kāraṇāni nibodha me
sāṅkhye kṛta-ante proktāni
siddhaye sarva-karmaṇām. Pañcaitāni mahā-bāho karmāni nibodha me Word for word meaning? Pañca, 5. Like pañca tattva. Yes. Etāni, this. Mahā-bāho, Almighty Armed One. It's like we have one Prabhupada's disciple here. His name is mahā-bāho. That Almighty Armed One, who is that? Arjuna, yes. Kāraṇāni, causes. Nibodha, just understand. Me, from me. That's Lord Kṛṣṇa, the me. Sāṅkhye, in the Vedānta. Kṛta-ante, in the conclusion. Proktāni, said. Siddhaye, for the perfection. Sarva, of all. Karmaṇām, activities. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O mighty armed Arjuna, according to the Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn of this from me. Everybody please repeat. O mighty armed Arjuna, according to the Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn of this from me. Purport. A question may be raised that since any activity performed must have some reaction, how is it that the person in Kṛṣṇa consciousness does not suffer or enjoy the reactions of work? The Lord is citing Vedanta philosophy to show how this is possible. He says that there are 5 causes for all activities, and for success in all activity, one should consider these 5 causes. Sāṅkhya means a discourse of knowledge, and Vedanta is the final discourse of knowledge, accepted by all leading ācāryas. Even Śaṅkara accepts Vedānta-sūtra as such. Therefore, such authority should be consulted. The ultimate control is invested in the Supersoul, as it is stated in the Bhagavad-Gita, sarvasya chaham hridi sanivishto. Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 15, text 15. He is engaging everyone in certain activities by reminding him of his past actions. And Kṛṣṇa conscious acts done under his direction from within yield no reaction, either in this life or in the life after death. Hare Krishna. So, did you understand anything from there? But we didn't hear what are these 5 major causes for the accomplishment of all action, because that will be defined in the next text. So that's why it is connected. Text 14. Adhishtānaṁ tatā karta karanam ca pitag vidham vividhascha pitag chesta devam chaivatra panchamam. Which means, translation, the place, this is here, the place of action. That means this body. There is Kshetra and Kshetragya. Kshetra, this is considered as the place or the, yes. Is that what it is here? Yes. Again, in the synonyms, it is not mentioned, these 5 major causes of activities. But it is in the translation we can see. So the place of action, the body, the performer, again, the person. The performer is the soul. The body is not the performer, it is the soul within the body. Yes?
Yes.
Because we are embodied. The soul is within. So ultimately, it is the soul who is performing the action. The various senses, that means sense of eye, the sight, smell, hearing, taste, and so on. The many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the super soul. These are the 5 factors of action. Now, one may ask, how is it that the super soul is one of the 5 factors of action? Because the super soul ultimately, when we talk about Atma Tattva means understanding the soul and the super soul. Atma means the soul, the body, or the mind. In the Bhagavad-Gita, Atma is not just the soul, the spiritual living entity, but also it also pertains to the body and to the mind. Yes. This is what you call Atma Tattva. And again, the Supreme Lord, one of his aspects, 3 aspects of the Supreme Lord, Badanti Tattva Vidas Tattvam. This is real knowledge of the Supreme Absolute Truth, that he is having 3 aspects, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So Brahman is the effulgence emanating from his transcendental form, his body, and the Paramatma, who is in the material world. He is guiding, giving direction, telling us if our senses are fully under control, then we'll be able to hear the super soul, be able to follow. If our senses are not controlled, uncontrolled, then we'll not be able to hear the dictations of the Paramatma, the super soul. So, this is a misconception to think that Jiva Atma, which is the material body also, is to identify with the material body. That's a misconception. Because the soul is pure, cannot be contaminated by the modes of material nature, but somehow, because of misidentifying the body as the self, then we get into trouble. Ultimately, we identify the body as a self, and then our false ego is the one who is controlling everything. Misidentification, the body as the self, then the false ego is the ruling. You may say, as Prabhupada says, the symptom of the soul is ego. Yeah. But then if you misidentify the body as the soul, then the false ego puts us into trouble. The soul within the body is acting to bring about the results of activity and is therefore known as kṛta, as we mentioned earlier, the doer. So let's see here. This adhistān, place of action, body. This is also kshetra, the place of activity. Ultimately, if one misidentify the body as the real self, then he is not knowing what to do. And all of his actions will yield karma. Karma. As we've read in the 13th sloka, that a person who's in Krishna consciousness, when he acts, there is no resultant reaction, whether to enjoy or to suffer. That enjoyment means material enjoyment. Real enjoyment means spiritual enjoyment. Unending and always increasing. So anybody who acts according to the modes of material nature, either he will suffer the reaction or he will enjoy having the body to enjoy the senses, to enjoy the sense objects, and one may take birth in the heavenly planets, in Swargaloka, where one is enjoying. But you know what? The demons also are enjoying, not just the demigods. And the demons, when they enjoy, it's uninterrupted. The demigods, when they enjoy, sometimes there is some interruption when the demons will trouble them. Like Hiranyakashipu. He troubled the demigods and he usurped the throne of Indra, King Indra. And therefore, there is some disturbance there. So that's why Prabhupada says, the demons, when they enjoy, it is uninterrupted. But there is also an end, because karma, there is a certain time that when it is already used up, the reaction from past deeds, then you cannot go further. Even the demigods who are enjoying in the heavenly planets, once their karma to enjoy is over, Prabhupada says that one has to come down again to the material earthly planets. And Prabhupada says some of them are wanting to take birth in ISKCON. They're in queue because those devotees who are performing bhakti-yoga, they are really happy. Their happiness is not material happiness. The happiness that they enjoy is actually the enjoyment of the soul. Material enjoyment is not enjoyment of the soul. Actually, Prabhupada says, there is no enjoyment in this material world. Everything is miseries. Miserable condition. What we say good, actually is also bad, materially. Because that good is still the reaction is that you will hanker for more. The enjoyment that the living entities experience materially is the source of their miseries in the future. So it's not really enjoyment, because that will be the cause of one's more miserable life. And the enjoyment in the material world is compared to, just like in the early days, the king, to punish a criminal, he will be pushed into the water. And when he's about to lose his consciousness, he will be grasping for air. Then he'll be pulled up. And then he'll say, and then pushed down again. So that being pulled up from the water is not really enjoyment. It's like part of the suffering. So the material world is like that. It's a place where it is full of miseries because it is temporary. And the person who's identifying with the body, this material body, as the self, is in a miserable condition. So, it says here that this wrong conception that I am the body and also the Paramatma is the same as me can only be removed in one stroke by performing bhakti-yoga. Just as the sunlight, both the sun and the world and everything within the sunlight are properly seen. It's like when the sun rises, then you can see your surrounding and you can see yourself as well. Both ways. Except for bhakti yoga, any method of realization of Atma, Tattva, or the science of Atma will prove deceptive in the long run. Deceptive. So, kṛta. Kṛta means that is the consciousness, the soul. The doer, that is the consciousness reflected in false ego. It refers to the soul who is acting to bring about the results of his activity. So again, if one is under the notion, if one has false ego, this is my realization here. If one has false ego, then everything is false. Everyone that is happening is not the truth, is not real. Because if we're under the false ego, then everything that we do is not real. It has nothing to do with the Supreme Absolute Truth. For the soul as the knower and the doer. This is according to Prashna, Upanishad, and the Vedānta-sūtra. That's why the first aphorism in the Vedānta-sūtra is Atato Brahma Jignasa. Now that we have come into this human form of life, now is the time to inquire about the absolute truth. If one having taken birth in the human form of life will not come to the conclusion of self-realization, understanding the goal of life, not to take birth again in this material world and to go back home, back to Godhead, then, as the Srimad Bhagavatam says, is killer of the soul. But how can you kill the soul? It says in the Bhagavad-Gita, the soul cannot be cut into pieces, cannot be withered by the wind, cannot be burned by fire. It's eternal. It's only the body that's keep on changing. 10 years ago, we're the same person. 20 years ago, we're the same person. When we were young, when we took birth from the womb of our mother, and we started to crawl, and started to learn how to say da, 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 ma, ma. And then we went to grade 1 or kindergarten, then grade 1, elementary, then high school, then college, university, then started to work as a professional or any other type of work. We're the same person. Even up to now, it's only the body that's changing. So one of the 5 elements that causes the action is the senses, or the senses. They are instruments of action, especially the mind. The mind is considered to be the what? 6th sense. It is still material, but it's subtle. Same with the intelligence, which is higher than the mind, and higher than the mind is the ego. So our real ego is that we are all servants of the servants of the servants of the Supreme Lord. And to understand that completely, we also have to sharpen our intelligence. Knowledge has to be developed. Knowledge has to understand that we're not this body, we're spirit souls, Kṛṣṇa is God, and we are all servants of the Supreme Lord. That's the proper. So the senses, if the senses just want to enjoy the material objects, then again, we will incur reactions, whether we will enjoy or we will suffer the resultant actions. Because the senses, which is uncontrolled, can give us bigger and bigger ways how we will become more miserable in our conditioned state. Other one is the chesta, endeavor. That means effort exerted by life heirs to move the body, the efforts. Efforts is the endeavor. So every action, there is an endeavor. We cannot just be stationary and expecting that something will happen. So our endeavor should be to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And ultimately, the main cause, the first 4, there are material causes. And ultimately, the main cause of action, the super cause of all of our activities, depend on the will of the super soul. That's why not everything that we wish to do, certainly or ultimately it will happen. It will occur. No, it is not in our control. It's like some devotees here, they planned to be here earlier, but then they got stuck because there was some bomb threat or something. So it's out of our control. But we pray to the Supreme Lord that somehow our wish becomes true. So ultimately, who is the controller? Am I the controller? No. This is again the misconception of a conditioned soul, that he is the master of all he surveys. Everything that revolves around him. No. We're not the ultimate controller. It's the Paramatma, who is the seed-giving father of every Atma. The Super Soul is the witness, ultimately, of all our activities. In the material world only. In the spiritual world, that feature of the Supreme Lord as Paramatma is not there, because he is present personally, as a person, as Bhagavan. And it says there that the Paramatma is neutral. There is no activity of the Swarup Shakti in the internal energy. Therefore, there is no loving dealings with the Paramatma. You cannot say, Paramatma, I love you. No. Because it's neutral. If it's neutral, then there is no such thing as loving relationship. But he's still concerned about us. He's waiting when we will turn our attention towards him so that we'll be able to receive the proper guidance, how to go back home, back to Godhead. So he's an observer. And he's also a permitter and he's the controller. He's giving us warning. It's like in the Shastra, an example was given, like there are two birds in a tree. The Atma, that means the Jiva Atma, would like to enjoy the fruits of the tree. But the Paramatma, the other bird, says, no, don't do it. Because the result is not admirable. It'll be the cause of one's suffering. No, don't, because the enjoyment is under the modes of material nature, and therefore there is miseries or so-called enjoyment, which is flickering. So the real enjoyment is if we dovetail our propensity to enjoy the material energy towards the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then there is no reaction now. No reaction means no material reaction. There is the reward, though. The reward is to attain love of God. So that is the difference. It says in Brahman and Paramatma, there is no rasa. There is no happiness due to an active relationship, inactive relationship. There is no action, there is no activities. So ultimately, our dearmost friend is Lord Kṛṣṇa, whereby we can join him in intimacy and affection. Only Kṛṣṇa knows the volume of our suffering and how nice we are. Kṛṣṇa knows our heart. Kṛṣṇa knows us more than we do ourselves. This is Kṛṣṇa. He guides us and so sympathetic to fulfill our desires. He has perfect knowledge of our desire and he has the omnipotency to fulfill that desires. If one wants to forget Kṛṣṇa, that will be forever fulfilled. Ooh. Prabhupada says, if you want to forget Kṛṣṇa, then Kṛṣṇa will give all the facilities to forget him. But this is not what he wants. This is not what he wants. He wants us to be always thinking of him and always remembering him and not to forget him. If one wants to merge with Kṛṣṇa, with him, in his Brahman effulgence, Brahma Jyoti, that will happen also. If one wants to love Kṛṣṇa, we can come and play with him. This is what you understand. You can understand how that phrase that God is equal to everyone, but he favors his devotees more. Even though he's equal to everyone, he's still seemingly partial. to his devotees. He is obliged to his devotees. He will never forget even a simple gesture in how to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And He will reward unlimitedly. We've heard many stories, like Sudama Vipra who came to visit him in Dwarka. He only had a few chips, few morsels of chip rice. Is it upma? Huh? Flat rice. What do you call it in poha? Poha. It's like this morning. I think the breakfast is poha or something. Oh, what seemingly it is doesn't have any value. Poha, yeah. But because he offered with love and devotion to Lord Kṛṣṇa, and second time, because Lord Kṛṣṇa, when he tasted that poha or that cheap rice, he wanted to have more. He wanted to have more. And he was stopped by Rukmini. He says, "No, my dear Lord, don't." Because the moment that he would taste more, extra, then what kind of result, what kind of reward that Sudama Vipra will receive unlimitedly? How about the story of the fruit vendor? The fruit vendor, because in those days there is no monetary funds. They use grains, they barter. So Kṛṣṇa would see his parents, his mother Yasoda, that whenever there is some exchange of commodities, then Mother Yasoda will in return give some grains because they are Vaishyas. So when there is this fruit vendor, she was passing by, and somehow Kṛṣṇa wanted to have some fruits. So he stopped the fruit vendor and asked if he can have some fruits. And he told the fruit vendor, "So just wait." So he ran inside the house to get some grains. But because his hand is so small, and some of those grains also slipped in between the fingers. So by the time he reached the fruit vendor, it's probably a few grains. But the fruit vendor is so attracted to Lord Kṛṣṇa. His beauty is incomparable. And she accepted whatever grains remaining in the hands of Lord Kṛṣṇa, baby Kṛṣṇa, that she was willing to give everything, all the fruits, to Lord Kṛṣṇa. And so, when Lord Kṛṣṇa is, he's trying to hold all of them, is practically very difficult. But he was able to manage to carry the fruits. And she put the grains in her basket. And then, when she came home, she saw that her basket were full of valuable gems, diamonds, rubies, emeralds, pearls, lapis lazuli, rubies, everything. So this is how Lord Kṛṣṇa reciprocates to his devotees. A simple gesture of love and devotion coming from his devotees, whose not expecting anything, because bhakti means not expecting anything in return. It's like the class this morning. Who's in the class this morning? Srimad Bhagavatam. You were there? So the question is how you reconcile Kubja's conjugal love to Lord Kṛṣṇa and the gopis' conjugal love towards Lord Kṛṣṇa. Both are in conjugal love. Actually, there are three types of conjugal love. So the first type of conjugal love is that of Kubja. She's expecting something in return. She's not really completely purified. Only when Kubja smell the fragrance of tulsi leaf and chandan from the lotus feet of Lord Kṛṣṇa that she became completely washed away of all the expectation of anything in return. She became, because in the beginning, she wanted to enjoy. The gopis doesn't want to enjoy Kṛṣṇa. That is a difference. Both are conjugal love. Both want, they want to have that special relationship with Lord Kṛṣṇa in Madhurya Ras. But Kubja is expecting something in return of her giving chandan or fragrant oil to Kṛṣṇa and Balaram. But it became purified. So similarly, we all, in the beginning, we all have material motives why we're doing bhakti. It's hard to be in the platform where we're not expecting anything in return for everything that we're doing for Lord Kṛṣṇa in the beginning. Expecting, just I want to please you, Kṛṣṇa. This is the mood of the gopis. Both are in conjugal love. The gopis' love towards Kṛṣṇa is so pure that they will ready to sacrifice anything and everything and not expecting anything in return. That is the topmost. Kubja, she's expecting something. So that is the difference. Yeah? So ultimately our goal is that of the mood of the Brajabasis, where they just want to increase their love towards the Supreme Lord and not expecting anything in return. You may trample me to death. You may squeeze me. That is the last verse of the Sikshastakam. You may trample me and you may squeeze me to death. That's all right. And still you will be my worshipable Lord, birth after birth. So that is our goal. And how to do that? Then we just have to somehow develop that love towards Kṛṣṇa by developing love towards his devotees. Because one cannot say, I love Kṛṣṇa, but I don't love his devotees. I don't care. Some devotees are like that. I know. They just want to have Radharani without Kṛṣṇa. They just want to say, oh, Radharani only. That's not possible. Or I just want to be with Kṛṣṇa, but not in the association of devotees. That's not going to happen. Okay, I'll stop here. You have any questions? Any points? Yes?
What was the third type?
It's still mixed. The middle one. In the beginning, you still have material desires. In the middle, it's mixed like the residents of Dwarka. Because they still want to enjoy with Kṛṣṇa. Just like when at the dawn, in the morning, when the Brahma Muhurta hour starts, then the croaking of the roosters, yeah, this is the sign. This is the sign that Brahma Muhurta is coming. So they will curse. They will curse dawn. Because at that time, Lord Krishna will wake up, will get up, and they want to be still with Krishna, with him, because of that loving embrace. So the queens will curse dawn. Why do you have to be that? No, why? We want to be with Krishna still. But still they are pure. They're more pure than Kubja. Yeah? Unlike the gopis, they don't care. In the middle of the night, they were feeding their children. They will run towards Lord Krishna. They don't care with their family members, even if they're going to be stopped. No. They break, or they broke all the moral values. Everything. Social and moral values. They don't care. Just to be with Krishna. Just to give Krishna pleasure. Not for their own enjoyment. Just to give Krishna pleasure. So that is the highest. There are some technical terms. I'm not good in remembering these technical terms, but these are the 3 levels of conjugal love. And Kubja is in conjugal love also, it was the question this morning. I did not raise my hand to comment, but I may say it again tomorrow because I'm giving the class tomorrow. Then they will hear the reply. Prabhu Vishnu Prabhu, that's correct also. Oh, because that is Leela, Krishna's Leela. That is correct. And then Bhakti Bhagavat Maharaj, he made a comment. Oh, sarva-kama, akama sarva-kama ba moksha-kama udaradi. One who is, that is closer. But the closest one is the 3 levels of conjugal love. Madhurya ras. Yes? Any other points or comments? Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, Maharajji, for the wonderful explanation. Guruji, Maharajji, the thing which you just explained, that gopis craving, that was of extreme level for Lord, that they didn't care about the night or the time.
Yeah.
At any time they could go further.
Yeah.
Is it again in love?
Is that what?
Is that amounting to love?
That is love. You do anything and everything for your beloved. That is the meaning of love. Love means I'm not expecting anything from you, but I will fulfill all your desires.
At one point of time, I heard now you saying, Maharajji, that Paramatma cannot be loved.
Yeah, I mentioned that because there is no interaction. There is no interaction with the Paramatma, except the Paramatma's main concern is to guide us, to give us direction. Because Paramatma is not a personal aspect. Only you can love a person. You cannot love someone who you do not see. But he is there. The Paramatma is there everywhere, within our heart, even in this stand, and here, Paramatma is there. Paramatma is everywhere. You can feel him when your senses are fully under control. Then you can hear what Paramatma is saying. Mm-hmm. But there is no exchange.
It feels very personal though, because that Paramatma is guiding in a way that is loving and it's
Yeah, how we reciprocate to him is to follow his instruction. That's up to that level only. But we don't say, I love you, Paramatma. We say, I love Kṛṣṇa. Because Brahman and Paramatma are like that. We don't say, I love Paramatma, because there is no activities, there is no exchange. There's no exchange. It's like, for example, is like the President of United States. You know the President of United States is there, and there's a law. There is no interaction between you and the President except for you to follow the law. Yeah? So you cannot say, oh, I love my President. You're not. You just wanted to follow the law that is governed under the supervision of the President of the United States. If you are close to him and you have interaction with him, then maybe you can say, I love you. I'll do anything and everything for you. But he's not present. He is present, but everyone can feel the presence of the President in all of the United States because of the law. Yeah, that we have to follow. Otherwise, there is a reaction again. Okay, so it's like more of a passive. We just have to follow. And then resultant of this is that you will have the full realization that the Supreme Lord is a person. That then the relationship starts. Then you can say, I love Kṛṣṇa. Not until we have that full realization that God is a person, then we will not develop pure love of God. Does it make sense? Yeah? So now here, Modi, we know Modi is a prime minister, but we don't have interaction with him. Right? But we have to follow the laws of India, knowingly that, they make legislations in the parliament in Delhi. But he's too far. Modi is too far. We cannot. There is no. Even if he comes here, he will not know who we are. But with Kṛṣṇa, he knows us and we know him. And there is an exchange of loving relationship. So that is the difference between the Paramatma and the Bhagavan feature of the Lord. So our goal is how to develop that love towards the Supreme Lord, not to develop love towards Paramatma. Because there is no exchange. You understand now? It makes sense, isn't it? Yeah?
Very.
It makes sense. Not only when you have that contact with that person, that he knows you and you know him, then the loving exchanges can be there. Otherwise, God, he always loves us. No doubt about that. And how he shows it is in his feature of Paramatma. He loves us that if we follow Paramatma, then we'll go back to Godhead. Again, there is no interaction with the Paramatma. No. Only when we see or meet Kṛṣṇa, then there is the interaction. That's why in the spiritual world, even the grains of sand, the creepers, the trees, they know Kṛṣṇa and Kṛṣṇa knows them. The trees are all, they're waiting for Lord Kṛṣṇa to come and take rest under the shades of the tree. And Kṛṣṇa knows that they're waiting for him. Yeah? Yeah. This is the difference. Because everyone is fully conscious. In the material world, even though the Paramatma is within the body of the tree doesn't know who is the Paramatma. But in the spiritual world, the tree knows who is Kṛṣṇa. And there is a reciprocation between the two. So that is the loving exchanges between the Atma, or the living entity, who is embodied, maybe not in a human form, maybe in an animal form, like a cow, or a monkey, whom Lord Kṛṣṇa will feed the monkey. Just like in the Damodar Leela, the monkey is always there. So there is a loving exchanges between the monkeys and Lord Kṛṣṇa. Not in Vrindavan right now. The monkey will steal your eyeglasses. They will not say, yeah, I know you need your eyeglasses so that you can have darshan of the Lord. I will spare you. No, they will not. They will eat it and they will give it back to you broken already. Any other points? Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Itai Gaur Sitanath Premanande Hari Hari Bol.